Hello, this is Josh Riddle, proud co-founder of Collaborative Realty Group over at eXp Realty, and I got a couple responses from the latest reel I posted about how I put $145,000 more in my client's pocket, and I wanted to share that story with you to detail how it happened and how in real time we put that much more money in my client's pocket versus them using a traditional method. Now, before I get started, I want to tell my own personal story about my experience with my own realtor before I got in the industry, and honestly, she was a tough realtor to deal with. She was short. She didn't really educate me on what was going on, and it was just very, very business like transaction. But what I do remember while being confused is she did introduce me to a program that once I took a class, the state gave me a significant down payment on my home back in 2010 to kind of stabilize the market. And if I owned the home for 10 years, I was going to make $35,000 extra in equity. It was a $35,000 down payment. And because of that program, I always was thankful to my realtor. When I got in the industry, I wanted to make sure that not only did I help understand the market and protect my clients through transactions and navigate transactions and make sure that they have the best care, but I also want to go out there and do my due diligence to research programs that could help my clients either navigate the market a little bit easier or maybe even put some money in their pocket. During the last year, the market's been insane. We know that it's starting to slow down, but the last 2 years, really, really crazy, especially a year ago. That's when I met my client who wanted to sell and buy their home, which in a traditional market is really not a big deal. You put your house up for sale, you get it under contract, you go out there and you shop as a contingent buyer. And there's tons of options to choose from, tons of eager sellers that are willing to accept a contingent offer. That was not the case last year in the market that we had, and still really not the case right now because the market is still very competitive. Purchased and closed on their home, then they could go back and sell their home, which means they could shop as a non-contingent buyer so they could be competitive. And then they wouldn't even have to sell their home until they've actually already bought and closed on their future home. What a relief that was for my client. How good of a feeling would that be if you wanted to move and you realized that you wouldn't even have to sell your home until you've already bought your other home? It's an awesome program, still available. Let me know if you have any questions about it. Here's how we use that program to put $145,000 in my client's pocket. My client reached out to me, wanted to buy. We got them qualified. They did own a home. The market was super competitive. We could not just put it on the market. We'd sell it in a day or two, but they couldn't buy as a contingent buyer. They decided to go the new build route. Now, before that, traditionally, when you buy a new build home, you would have to actually sell your home so that you would qualify non-contingent and purchase a new build. The tough thing about that process is you sold your home, you bought your new build. What are you going to do during the build out time? Those usually last 8 to 10 to even 12, 15 months, I've heard, depending on where you're at and what's going on with inventory and the labor market and all that good stuff. So it could be anywhere from like 8 months to 15. What are you going to do during that time? Rent, right? Pay very, very high rental prices, bounce around a little bit. I've had one client even live with their parents during the entire time. They were so eager to move into the house, they even took it unfinished just so they could get out of the house with their parents. So, what would you do during that time? With this program, we allowed my client to purchase the new build and stay in their home. What that did for them was they built equity in one of the fastest, highest appreciation years we've ever had in the history of the real estate market here in Arizona, 22%. They owned two homes at the same time, basically, built equity on two different homes. I originally comped their house out at 390 when we were getting ready to list their home. 390 is what I comped their house out at, and the home that we bought was $500,000, the new build. Well, fast forward 8 months later, we get ready to sell our home. I list it for 325 or 425 and get it sold for 450. So originally 390, if they would have sold that day, we would have sold it for 390. Now I'm selling it for 450. That's an increase of $60,000. And then their home that they bought for 500 by the time they moved in, before they ever made their first payment, had appreciated to $585,000. So they made an extra $65,000 on their sale. They made an extra $80,000 or $85,000 on their purchase, coming up to about $145,000 more in their portfolio than they had before if they would have sold the traditional way. This is just one example of this amazing program, one example of how I try to be very creative in every way that I can when I help my clients, because I absolutely love what I do. My goal is to protect and provide my clients with the best possible service. If you have questions about the program, questions about how I approach this industry and make sure I do everything I can to protect my clients, always reach out to me, shoot me a message, drop a comment. I would love to hear from you. I just want to be there for you. I love real estate. I love what I do. Cheers.